Welcome, everyone, to the Daily Fantasy Lines NBA Breakdown. This is for December 18th, 2017. My name is Jerico. I host the show every day, and I am going to walk you through our top Draftkings and Fanduel plays for tonight. I also run through the injury news at the beginning of the show, amongst other things. I do run through DraftKings first. You can see the picture, the actual live feed of our website on your screen right now. This is our DraftKings page. You can see that this is for the main slate at the top of the screen. The first thing I'm going to do is go through injuries. I know a lot of you guys don't have time throughout the day to keep up with these injuries. It looks like Steven Adams and Trevor Booker are out. Derek Favors is also out. Nito Onuaku, these guys are less relevant, but Lou Williams is out. Wesley Johnson is out. Danilo Gallinari is still out. So the Clippers are going to be really thin in their front court and their back court tonight. So Draymond Green out, Sean Livingston out, Zaza Pachulia out. As for questionable players that we're still waiting on, Miles Turner, Kristaps Porzingis, which is a big one, Johnny O'Bryant, Dion Waiters, and Goran Dragic. So that could be impactful. Clint Capella, questionable. Jimmy Butler, questionable. So as you can see, there's still a lot that we're waiting on, which means my lineups that you're going to see here in just a second, as I'm going to generate 5 of them, are going to drastically change throughout the night as we get more news. So that's something to take into account when you're building your lineups tonight. The advice I'm giving you right now, not all of it is going to translate. You need to make sure you keep up with the news. You're welcome to ask me questions on Twitter. You can follow me at DailyFTSY Lines. That's DailyFTSY Lines. Kemba Walker making a lot of optimals tonight. That's not necessarily surprising. His price point is down on DraftKings at 7.1K, and he gets a pretty strong matchup tonight as well. So I do like him in that spot against the Knicks. There is some worry about blowout, but the Hornets aren't that good, so I'm not going to bank on them blowing anyone out. Donovan Mitchell, this is obviously because of how thin Utah is yet again. He's been a machine. I really like his price point at 6.7K. I think it should probably be a little bit higher. Bob Cove, you can't go wrong there. Rashawn Holmes, Ekpe Udo. Udo just had a massive game, so it's really tough to fade him on either side at 3.7K with Favors and Gobert out. Russell Westbrook, Dario Saric, Kelly Olynyk. I'm seeing some Jordan Mickey in here. We'll get to the values as we move on throughout the show. And like I said, there's a ton of injuries that we've got to keep up with tonight. So I will do my best to keep you guys updated on that. The Jordan Mickey play obviously is because of how depleted Miami is. But let's start with point guards, and we'll kind of move on from there. Milo Teodosic, obviously with Lou Williams out. I'm assuming Austin Rivers probably still out. There's just a lot going on in terms of injuries in that Clippers backcourt, and Wesley Johnson being out just furthers it even more. David Nwaba, this is more of an increasing opportunity suggestion here at 4.2K. I do really like him. Kemba Walker, we touched on. That's just a matchup play and a low price point play. And actually, it looks like Austin Rivers is back. So Teodosic is in play because Lou Williams is out tonight, and Wesley Johnson and Danilo Gallinari and Blake Griffin. Austin Rivers, how many minutes is he going to play coming back? We don't know. I haven't seen anything. But him and Teodosic are going to see huge minutes and huge usage upticks with Lou Williams off the court. So both of them are great plays, even with rising price tags. Russell Westbrook gets to play Denver. That's rather self-explanatory. Yogi Ferrell, that price point's a little high for me. I consider these guys kind of second-tier values at the point guard position. I'm sure we'll see Donovan Mitchell more in play at the shooting guard position as we move on throughout the show. Tyler Ulis, Jawan Evans is more of a tournament flyer with Austin Rivers being back, and the matchup isn't ideal. Ben Simmons, you got to like his upticks. 9.6K, that's a solid price point. He's been really bad. But against Chicago, that's a good buy low opportunity. Moving on to shooting guards. And again, I try to make the show as quick as possible. I know a lot of you guys are driving home. You got to get home to your wife and your family when you're listening to this. So I want to make it quick and to the point. Joe Johnson, with all the injuries there, 3.5K. I do like that play, even though his upside's severely limited. Wesley Matthews, that's a matchup and price point play. Dennis Smith Jr. is still out, I believe. Milo Teodosic talked about him. Joe Ingles faces off against Houston. Again, the injuries and the depleted front court and back court, really, there put him in play. David Nwaba, Austin Rivers, J.J. Redick, Nick Batum. Batum has been playing a lot better. It's a great matchup. His minutes are really up there. 5.7K for him is a very nice price point. And I think it's a great pivot off of Kimba in tournaments if you just want to roll with Batum. Small forwards, and I'll flip over to the questions if you guys have any. Ranger, yes, I will be doing FanDuel. I go DraftKings first, and then I move on to FanDuel. I see your question in the live chat, and you guys are welcome to join in with your Google accounts and chime in on the live chat room, and I'll answer your questions as we move on throughout the show. Small forwards, Joe Johnson, Omer Caspi. Caspi at 4.1K. That's pretty solid with Livingston and Draymond out. He should see an uptick in minutes. You've also got Zaza out, so that factors in as well. McGee's not going to go out there and play big minutes. Wesley Matthews, Covington. You've got Embiid out. I don't know if I mentioned that, but Embiid is out. Amir Johnson's going to be starting. And all this just means more usage for Covington and Ben Simmons, even J.J. Redick, T.J. McConnell, Joe Ingles, J.J. Redick, T.J. Warren, Nick Batum. I don't think I can confidently tell you that you should play T.J. Warren in any capacity right now. He's been really bad. The minutes were high in a few games, and then they went down for no reason. Not really sure what they're doing in Phoenix. It's kind of a cluster there, and I'm not real confident playing anyone on that team right now, to be completely honest. Batum, probably my favorite tournament play. I think his ownership's going to be rather low, and I like him in all formats. Power forwards, Jordan Mickey, we talked about this. The depleted Miami front court really gives him a boost, and you've got Winslow out. You've got Dragic questionable and Waiters questionable. He's only going to get more of a boost in minutes if those guys do end up sitting. Whiteside, obviously, out for a long time. So Ekpe Udoh, no Gobert, no favors. He's probably my favorite play of the night. I think you should just lock him in. His upside's massive. He really played great last game. Rashawn Holmes, I do like him with no Embiid. It's hard not to. But the upside is limited. Olynyk, again, part of that front court. Dude played massive minutes. I'm for some reason I can't see what's going on with James Johnson. I know he left last game. I'm assuming he's out with these guys rating as well. Right ankle bursitis, expected to miss the next 7 to 10 days of action. So that front court is even more depleted than I let on. I forgot about him being out. Mickey, Olynyk, all these guys are going to see a huge uptick, and you've got Waiters and Dragic questionable. So there could be even more value opening up in Miami tonight, and that's something to keep an eye on as you progress through the night and build your lineups. Amir Johnson is starting. I only like him in tournaments. Dario Saric, that's a really high price tag for him. I don't hate the play, but I would lean, that being a little more of a tournament play at 5.8K. Omri Caspi, talked about him. Jordan Bell is just like Omri Caspi. There's no Draymond. There's no Pachulia. So he could see an uptick in minutes as well. Bam Adebayo, again, depleted Miami front court. Do we trust Bam? Probably not. But he is going to see a fair amount of minutes, and you can't really go wrong if you're just plugging him in for a higher floor. I think he's probably going to get you 16, 17, worst case scenario. Bob Cove, the Keebler Elf, Dirk, Warren, these are more secondary values at the power forward position. Centers, same guys, Mickey, Udoh, Holmes, Olynyk, Amir Johnson, Saric, Bell. All these guys, there's just too much value tonight. So This is a night where I would probably go a little heavier on tournaments rather than cash games. I think you could see really high cash lines with all the value opening up here, and it's going to be a studs and scrubs night. There's just no question about it. So keep that in mind when you're doing your bankroll management and entering contest. I would definitely go more towards tournaments tonight and playing multiple lineups as opposed to playing one lineup and single shotting it in cash. I will definitely get a lot of diversity tonight if I have the time, especially on Fantasy Draft where I can actually upload a CSV. I play a lot on Yahoo, and it's really hard to get diversity on that site because you can't edit entries with an Excel sheet. So let's go ahead and take a look at FanDuel. I'm going to check the chat here, see if you guys had any other questions. Porzingis rant, James Johnson one. You know what I will rant on is Antonio fucking Brown. So just real quick, I want to give a shout out to Antonio Brown and his bruised calf for costing me anywhere from probably $4,000 to $6,000, I would say. I still managed to scrape out some wins on Fantasy Draft and Yahoo this week. But Antonio Brown cost a lot of money for a lot of people, myself included. He was only 40%. Only 40% on Fantasy Draft, which was absolutely crushing. I probably would have won another GPP on Yahoo had Antonio Brown played. So he is one of my favorite NFL players, so I won't, wish him illy like I do with a lot of other guys. James Johnson's an absolute pussy. What is ankle bursitis, anyways? Your tendons hurt? I don't understand what's going on there. Porzingis is just soft. They don't call him the unicorn for nothing. He's, the biggest knock on Dirk when he came in the league is that he was probably too soft and not a good defender. Porzingis is just he's made of glass, I feel like, and that's not a good combination when you take into account how tall and lengthy he is. I'm not sure he's going to have a long NBA career, and that's unfortunate because he's a really good player. Some of these tall guys just they can't stay healthy. Looking at FanDuel, Yogi and Teodosic look like the top value point guards. You're seeing some Austin Rivers mixed in there. Russell Westbrook seems like a consensus play on FanDuel at 11.3K. Wes Matthews, Klay Thompson, Pat McCaw. I don't think I can get behind McCaw in cash. That seems like a stretch, but I'll do some more research on that when I get offline. I don't like Klay Thompson regardless of who's out. He just doesn't do enough. He needs so much help to get open. 7.2K, I don't think I'm going to go there. But you can see how weak shooting guard is. You've got Wes Matthews and Jeremy Lamb and Pat McCaw making optimals. Omri Caspi, Harrison Barnes, Joe Johnson. I think you got to like Caspi the most out of that bunch. And then Kevin Durant, it appears, is a complete lock tonight at 12K. Jordan Bell, Ben Simmons, Rashawn Holmes. These are all rather self-explanatory. I don't think I really need to get into that much, but you got Simmons with no Embiid, you got Holmes with no Embiid, and you've got Bell with no Draymond Green. This obviously opens up a ton of value. And Kevin Durant is just going to eat up all the usage for that team as he has been. He's been putting up monster games. It looks like Curry went through some shooting drills and he's making some progress, but he's obviously out again. And that just opens the door for big games from some of these guys. And I think Caspi and Durant are definitely a part of the Warriors that you want to get in your lineups on FanDuel. Keith, you asked about some locks. I would go ahead and lock in Kevin Durant tonight. I don't see much else in the way of locks unless you want to lock in Rashawn Holmes. But again, his ceiling's rather limited. Same goes for Wes Matthews. His ceiling is limited. But in cash games, I do like locking in Holmes and Wes and KD. So, keep that in mind when you're doing your tournament entries. I'm going to go ahead and sort by value. We'll run through each position real quick here. Again, if you guys have any questions, ask them in the live chat on the right-hand side of the video on YouTube. Sort by point guards. We saw Teodosic. We saw Yogi. Juwan Evans, a little too risky for my taste. JJ Barea, probably a little too expensive for my taste. Austin Rivers, I do like at 5.8K, but the matchup's not very good. So I would probably stick with locking in Russell Westbrook and then picking either Yogi or Teodosic. Teodosic has the tougher matchup, but I do think he's a better player, especially on a permanent basis. Yogi did just have a massive game, and he gets the better matchup. Personally, if you can, I would split these two guys on FanDuel tonight. Rather than running a single bullet, I would definitely get some variance and run Yogi in half my lines, Teodosic in half my lines if the salary fit. They're 100 apart here. So if your best lineup came out to 49.9, with Yogi in it, then I would plug in Teodosic into half of them. There's nothing wrong with getting a little extra variance when two players are close together. I do have my platinum package where I offer FanDuel lineups, and I only give out one lineup because people didn't seem too happy with me running more than one lineup. But in this instance, you just use your brain. Run Teodosic in half and Yogi in half. It's just a sound strategy that's going to get you some variance. And yeah, it'll suck if one goes off and one doesn't. But if one goes off and you pick the wrong guy, it's going to suck a lot worse. So Wes Matthews, the shooting guard position's ugly. Pat McCaw, Justin Holiday, that's a really fair price point for him. JJ Redick, I do like, but that price point is really creeping up there for somebody that basically only scores the basketball. That's really tough to stomach. KCP, Klay Thompson, Jeremy Lamb. It's really ugly, and I would probably lean towards playing Wes and maybe Klay. Klay does have a nice floor, even though he's not my favorite play in the world on any night, really. But the floor at 7.2K is something that you can rely on. I think he's going to get you 30-plus fantasy points with few exceptions. Joe Johnson, strong value, 3.5K. Played a fair amount of minutes last time out. Again, the injuries on that team are piling up. Omri Caspi, probably my favorite play at this position. Rant down here. Bob Cove, if you want to pay up a little bit more here. Iguodala is very frustrating to roster. Nwaba's priced a little too high, as is Ingles. Pretty much it for the small forwards. Saric chalk for FanDuel cash. I'm not seeing Saric make a lot of my lines. We'll see what kind of value pops out. But as of right now, I don't think I'm going to play Saric on FanDuel. Amir Johnson really does offer you a lot of cap relief. And I don't think he's any more risky than, say, Jordan Bell with that play due to the opportunity cost at this position. Same goes for Jordan Mickey. 6.5K is just a lot for him. Pretty much he has to have, one of his best games to reach value for you there. Simmons at 9.9K. I don't mind that play. A lot of block and steal potential for him against a turnover-prone Bulls team. Taj Gibson priced a little too high, but a great matchup. Olynyk priced a little too high, but a great matchup. And that's pretty much all there is to see there. Centers, Rashawn Holmes is priced below Ekpe Udoh. That's another one of those situations where I think I'd be okay splitting those two guys. Again, if you can make it work, there's a $200 price difference. So if you need that cap relief like our optimals do, I'm perfectly fine with Rashawn Holmes. But Udoh's coming off a massive game. Do I think he's going to repeat that game? Not a chance. Do I think it's the best matchup for him? Not really, because they do go small a fair amount. So I think Holmes is definitely safer, and he's the preferred cash play. But I'm not opposed to getting some Udoh variance in there for his upside, even in cash games. That pretty much wraps it up. Holmes or Udoh? Ranger, I got that question. I would play Holmes in cash personally. But if you have the salary, I'm okay with splitting those two guys. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. I'm going to try to start a podcast. Basically, I'll turn this into an audio file and upload it to the podcast every day. And you guys can watch it on YouTube after the fact. Pretty much sums it up. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at DailyFTSYLines, at DailyFTSYLines. I am giving out a free week of NHL to everyone by using the coupon code NHL free. That coupon code is NHL free. and you can utilize that on the website for any NHL package. Holm's going to foul out. If he does, he's still going to produce. Guy plays big minutes. So thanks for tuning in.